What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with another ABBA tune. As we move into the final phase of their most recent album, Voyage 2021, I wanted to give a big shout out to all the ABBA fans, a number of whom have indicated to me what this album means to them and what it was like to hear them come back after so long away. I wanted to give a shout out also to Eduardo, not only for being just an awesome person and a great cataloger of the way that ABBA fans have interacted with the videos that I've been making with their songs, but he mentioned that Anyata is coming out with some solo material, mentioned that she gave an interview, so ultimately I have earlier Anyata solo material already available, and we'll begin to go through that once we finish this journey, as well as Frida's solo material. As I mentioned, I'm still not entirely certain if I have access to any of Benny and Bjorn's work post-ABBA, but ultimately we have plenty more to go, but hopefully I'll be able to go through the recent Anyata material as well. And yeah, the third to last tune on Voyage is Bumblebee. It's a straightforward concept, whatever the word is in different languages around the world, these types of insects are very well known. I do have to mention that I have one allergy, and it is to bee stings, so if I get stung by more than a few, I could be in some serious trouble. Even one, I tend to my arm, if I get stung on the arm, it will puff up a bit. It hasn't happened in a long time, thankfully. I think I was like a teenager the last time I got stung. But yeah, it is something I have to look out for. So when I think of bumblebees, and this is not their fault, but I think of danger, I think of, I don't want to be around them, which I suppose is not uncommon. Even people not allergic, the prospect of being stung is not a pleasant thing. So I wonder, because again, they have a sting to them, so there could be a sting to the theme or to the lyrics, but also they are represented in some, entertainment or creative enterprises as relatively benign, simple, and even admirable creatures, because again, they pollinate things. So I do wonder where the metaphor or figurative usage of the word, assuming that's what is at hand, will play out. So let's find out. This is ABBA, the tune is Bumblebee, and it's from the 2021 album Voyage. Pan flute? Sounds like ambient music.
He likes the lilacs in my garden. I love to watch him fly. He's just a tiny fuzzy ball, and I wonder how he can fly at all.
So we're really talking about a bumblebee?
A world without him. I dread to think what that would be, and I'd imagine my distress. It would be a new kind of loneliness. But for now I'm in my garden, watching clouds sail with the breeze, feeling carefree as I listen to the hum of bumblebees. It's quite absurd this summer morning to think we could be trapped inside a world where all is changing too fast for bumblebees to adapt.
This is true.
From thyme to bluebell, from hyacinth to lily rose. Oh, how I do adore the sight of his rather clumsy, erratic flight. And for now I'm
what an amazing sonic feast. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pan flute. I don't know why, just in, different movies and so on, I heard it as a kid, and I always just enjoyed that sound. Later, I remember getting like a traditional Peruvian music CD. I really enjoyed that. So that particular layer, I think was really fantastic. There was a really cool acoustic guitar. There was a part near the end where it sort of scaled up. That was a notably cool moment as well. And yeah, some great synth work. It's funny, there was a moment where I was wondering, like, is it an acoustic guitar or is it like a harpsichord or like a plucked, like, keyboard instrument? So it's another one where, like, I wasn't quite sure what I was hearing along the way. But yeah, some cool synth work in there and that main sort of rising synth. And yeah, like, it's crazy. So it starts and it's like, oh, we are actually talking about a bumblebee, a little fuzzy insect, and then, the idea of flying around carefree, and then the idea of, like, the stage is, she's looking at the clouds and hearing the hum of the bumblebees. But it is absolutely true that bees are facing a number of, like, environmental challenges in which a lot of ecosystems are changing rapidly in ways that they can't adapt to, like amphibians and a number of other, groups and specific species, face similar rapidly changing perils. So suddenly it's like, oh wait, no, it's like not just about a bumblebee, like, the concept of living as a bumblebee, but then we're talking about the actual species, and we're talking like our planet in real time, and things that are dramatically changing. And it's like, wow, so now, like, the scope suddenly became bigger, but it's still, like, personal at the same time. And I've talked about it, like, in different reaction series, including some punk rock tracks that I'm very fond of, where, like, the lyrics make large, like, points about things on a large scope and a large scale, but there's a human story, a personal story interwoven within it. And this feels like one that was very much in that vein. So yeah, shout out to them for some really interesting and clever songwriting that had me surprised all along the way. Like, one, again, I went into it thinking that on some level it would be metaphor, and although there, I think, were figurative or metaphorical understandings of being a bee, and that the relationship of that to the way our human lives are full with all these difficulties and complications and so on. But yeah, it suddenly seemed like the tune grew in scope, and so suddenly, like, now I was surprised again. So I enjoy the way that unfolded. And yeah, like, you take a concept as simple seemingly as a bumblebee, and then you have a lot to say about it on different levels. It's like, I enjoyed their songwriting and composition, as I guess the very simple point that I'm trying to make. But yeah, we'll be into the last two songs now, so I want to give a shout out to all the people who've been along for the ride, whatever point you may have joined. Obviously, I'm very thankful to those who've been commenting from the beginning, including, as I said, Eduardo, who helps us all sort of understand what songs, what albums are most popular in terms of people engaging with them. Comments below and so on. So big shout out to all the ABBA fans, and again, a tip of the cap to Eduardo. And yeah, after we finish these two, I know there's some outstanding, B-sides or non-album tracks that we haven't gone through. I will go through those as they become available, but as I said, we already have for sure access to Anyata and Frida's solo material, so there shouldn't be too much of a gap before we begin going through those, and I'll try as best as possible to do those in tandem, one and one, so to speak. So yeah, still lots to go through in the ABBA universe. Shout out to all of you who've been part of this. Let me know what you think of this tune. I will see you next time. Peace.